Hello there. Welcome and thank you. And my name is Ritta Ikonen. I'll try to talk. There's only 15 minutes, so I'll try to talk a lot, but very quickly. I'll put this timer here. Okay. I studied illustration back in the day, and I started making costumes, like in the slide before, because of a project that was about celebrating the invention of nylon. So somehow I became a human nylon. And here we are, and it was exploring the protective qualities. So like the bristles of the toothbrush, or the seat belt. There's another photo where there's somebody actually sitting there. And all of this, like I sew a lot. But there's no Photoshop or nothing like this. There's always, and they're shot on like normally real film. And then there was a brief period of costumes, and then I thought, well, what's this bollocks? What's this? This is, you shouldn't do that kind of stuff, and that's just boring. So there was a lot of kind of troublemaking in between, and Royal College in communication, and again, from my illustration roots, I was doing illustration projects. And this one was for a book by Miranda July called, I think No One Belongs Here More Than You. And this exact piece is called The Ball Is in Your Court. And this one's called My Unexpressed Anger at Nothing in Particular. Which is often the case in London, I feel. And then I continued somehow with the costumes. I thought, like, well, I'm a very countryside girl, and the city gets a bit much. So I made a perfect excuse to get out into the countryside. And I was working on this project with a photographer called Anja Schaffner for about a year. And we had a bird costume, and I make all the costumes. So then here we have a leaf costume. And there's a very fancy explanation to the project on the website. You can check it there. But this is, it was these solitary figures in the landscape and getting back to nature and all of this. And it was 1 year, and we went winter, summer, autumn, spring, and so. So they're quite costume, kind of funny, but a bit melancholic, sad even. Here we are. Oh. And here's a bird. So these are all kind of like, for me, it was semi-like, oh, I get to do costumes, do something that I like, but you don't just make a costume for fun, hoo-ha. You make it because there's a point, for me, to get outside. Here we go. And then I'm originally from Finland, hence the accent, and I go home every summer, or I try to, and every Christmas. And a few Christmases ago, we had no snow at Christmas Eve. And I told my parents that, okay, like, sort this, I ain't coming back until maybe like February or something when you for sure have snow. And they told me that's not an option, I have to go. So I came prepared. And I thought, well, let's let the world know about this then. And then this one was photographed by a girl called Anni Koponen in Finland, really nice photographer, in a place kind of near my hometown, nearly at Christmas Eve. And it was 2 Christmases that there wasn't any, and embarrassingly, or nearly, last year, this place had the most snow in the whole of Finland. Like, a lot. Okay, and here, and somehow it works, like, it seems to have worked very, very well. So it went wild on all over blogs and internet and people, and ooh. And then I did a thing, well, there was a series of like master classes. So this one is in Moscow, and we did some in St. Petersburg, and it traveled all over Russia on like how to create a thematic creative photo project. So I was telling people if they had, like, say if they had a problem in their hometown or anything, like they didn't have any frogs or whatever, you could kind of how to put it into an image that they could then like get their message across, because the snowflake went wild. So here we are doing a practical example, again shot by a Russian photographer called Vlada Krasilnikova in Moscow, and so on. Here we are. And this is from, I'll do this super fast. It's like a how not to do it masterclass example, if you were to do your thing. This one was to kind of illustrate the points that Baltic Sea is in a terrible, terrible, terrible state. So here we have a Baltic herring, skipper, diver, photographer, boats, so on. Only one day for the shoot, it happened to be, I wanted really gloomy, miserable, awful day. It was, of course, blue sky and beautifully sunny. And as usual, there's at least one visit from the authorities per project. So here comes the Finnish Coast Guard. And they came and did an alcohol check on our skipper. It being Finland. And of course, you know, in this costume, I made it kind of light, and I tried to use materials like no lead or anything like that, that I would actually stay alive. But still, I couldn't move or anything. And this is like April time, I think, in Finland, so it's quite cold. So this is a dry suit rather than a wet suit. But of course, I don't know who'd used it beforehand, but these parts of your body, this?
Heel?
Yeah, the heel, it was leaking, so by some point I was totally soaked to my butt. And then here's the glamorous lifestyle. I'm getting wrapped in plastic bags, and back in we go. So we got a few, this is like an ice float and stuff. But again, like, the sun is turning like this, and the blue sky, and then the boat is here, and the photographer is there, and wow, too many moving parts. So if you are to do your own photo project, keep it very, very simple, like a leaf in a tree, or something like that. Okay, this is a project I do a lot of, like, I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do my own stuff, and I somehow seem to be alive by doing that. And this is one that I did like a more commercially project for a charity called ActionAid on violence against women, and they had collected from their supporters 300 pairs of shoes, old shoes, and then it was a matter of how to kind of put the message out and, like, say, they're quite gloomy messages, or they were shown like this at the Department for International Development, and they're going around like government offices. It's like doesn't fully show that, but it's like an 8-meter or more long installation with this army of invisibles, and with these few examples telephone. And these few shoes that have been kind of customized, like the one with feathers is like, this girl gets raped in her hometown by the pastor, and you can't really talk about it, you need to be hush-hush, and you know, serious topics, so they had the stories there. On we go. This one was for London Underground system, about the, you know, the heavy transport users, the commuters, and what kind of problems. There was a big hoo-ha project finding out what's the issue. So communication campaign was the outcome. 3 posters. This one has really, really small copy there, like on the red and green, and it says, you should see the sweat under here, it's like a river. And I'll explain a bit why it's so small. And all of the photos, again, shot by Anja Schaffner, and also done together with the typographer Valerio Di Lucente. Here's another one, done in the nature. It says, another one is, okay, of course, lack of space, and there's nothing I can do about it, apart from trying to pull some kind of positive point out of it. So it says, there's always space to think. So you can kind of disappear off daydreaming. And another one, hey, underneath all this, I'm smiling, which came kind of like from these animal instinct things, you know, like these lizards in the desert. You know, you have your street face on when you're in the tube, but you're actually quite a nice person, or most people are. And then this is how it would be kind of shown on the tube, like in the lack of physical space, we'd have some mental space, and like there would be no other adverts whatsoever. But the few things, and the copy is really small. So like say everybody arrives on the tube platform like 3 seconds before their train. It's like, ooh, nice spot. But like say one day you arrive like 6 seconds early, so you might think like, wait, there's something there. So maybe you actually go and travel a bit different place from your usual spot. And then you think like, what's that? Ha, ha, ha. And then the copy is really small. So maybe you kind of get the joke, and maybe someone else has got there too. And then maybe you share a joke, and maybe there's then the chance of like, you know, meeting new people. Here's again police. Yeah. And another one, it's often, it's all about collaboration with me. Like, it's just me. But the team of people, I totally couldn't do it with billions of people. Here we're setting up an installation with Hoxton Square, and this Rabble Lab guy, I didn't know he was there. I just know it's like, damn, my costume's going to get broken. But then, yeah, he was just doing his special dance routine inside this is a piece of an earthworm. You saw it in the beginning. And I was kind of scared, but then I was just really impressed how strong my sewing machine stitch is. But yeah, he stopped. This is another project that keeps going on, called If You Could Collaborate. And this is done with a really, really great guy called Ian Wright. English guy, lives in New York, works there, artist. And we collaborated, but it was all about like thinking and wondering and stuff. And being from Finland, parents have kind of trained me. I'm speaking so fast because I have 2 minutes.
It does.
Can I
You've got
just...
time, you've got plenty of
Yeah?
time. Yeah.
Okay. Somehow being from Finland, and there's lots of things to pick from the ground, like mushrooms, berries, whatever. So I scan all the time, so I keep picking up pieces. So it became part of this project with Ian. And I found this place called Treasure Beach in New York. I live in between London and New York, so these are all from there, but then we got them here. Here's Ian and I with some pieces of driftwood. Ian said, yeah, let's get some big pieces of driftwood, and somehow my idea of big and his idea of big was a little bit different. He meant kind of this size on the floor, and I meant this, and once again, nearly arrested. Here we are, Pinocchio. And here making, we made a crash helmet out of this Chinatown good luck amulet things from, yeah, like, you know, like good luck things. Crash helmet. Yes, here. It's now, it was just on show in Finland, and now it's not anymore. Here we are. This is part of it. And this was kind of our final piece thing. It's like a raffia creature. Setting up. Ding. Oh, and this is still up actually in London, on Rivington Street, number 72. There's a show up of mail art that I started a project in 2004 when I was in school, and there was a project called Location, Vocation, Vacation. Catchy, no? And it just kind of caught on, and you had to send something. And I kind of made my own rules that it has to be A6 and anything. And of course, it's not anymore every week, but more or less anytime I'm on the road, I send these things. Now I'm worried this is the wrong presentation, but yeah. Here we go. And you know, going with these kind of things to the post, I managed to unfortunately cause this kind of queues most of the time. And this is the RCA secret that's coming up again, end of the month. There'll be more cards there, see if you can spot them. And here's some cards. Boom, but there's hundreds. It's a bit like visual diary. I don't write very much, so and all of these things came through the post. Like the address is scratched onto the pipe. So yeah, well done, post. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, it continues. Okay, this is the show that's up here, and this is Margaret. It's quite special. We never see Margaret, who they are all sent to, but I'm meeting her up on Tuesday. And this is one for the London Festival of Architecture. We had to depict London in a hat, so it's an anthill, because it's, you know. So then I got asked to do the Helsinki Design Week. So I thought, okay, well, this same hat in proportion with Finland. Finland, great, big, vast country. We could fit the whole suit. So here we are. It's my size, like, you know, so you can go in. So hat in England in proportion for the people here. And it was here. And there was this performance with the people in the window as well. So you could go in. European Union. And here we are very gently packing it to bring it over. You can't imagine the amount of jokes of, is that your mother-in-law on the tube? And here's a horse head down for, I did a show and residency in Vienna. And you know, Lipizza and horses, it was going into folklore and all of this stuff. And this, it's a really, really bad scan, and ignore it, but it's photograph we did in Finland. It's going for folklore. And this is, I thought I'd show you most on the glamorous side of the job. Yeah. And this is one that's coming out in a magazine called Address by a very good friend of mine, Johannes. And it's on like lesbian wedding dresses. So I got the author of the thing to kind of go with me onto this ditch just outside London. And yeah, to our horror, as we walked into this really smelly ditch, it was only that deep. So it's kind of like, apparently it's like a forward-leaning yoga position that we were in here. You can imagine. Yeah, and this is another one. It's like a double hat. And then this is just to finish. This is the last one. There's tonight, there's a restaurant design happening thing, opening of Finnish cuisine thing in, I've got somewhere near Old Street, but it should be really, 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 really good. And it's up there for like a week or more, or something like that. But there should be some chanterelle stuff. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.